Cup of Joe with Grandpa Dez. Hey, Pat, how you doing?
Very good yourself.
Not too bad. Long time no see.
Yeah, I know. I know.
Uh,
It's been a few
try,
years. There
I'm
was a
trying to think of
pandemic in between.
trying to think of. I think it was Vegas for when Dave Meltzer got the Melby Award.
Was I there?
You were definitely there because I got a story about that.
Was
You
his
were there with
parents there?
Bertrand. Yeah, you were there with
Because
Bertrand.
because his parents. Oh no, his parents were in
Oh,
Waterloo, I think.
right.
Yeah,
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 sorry,
yeah,
your
yeah. Okay,
parents.
okay,
I
okay.
thought I thought you said I
No, no,
misheard you.
Dave's parents. Because I know the one that the award he got where his parents were. I wasn't there.
Right. No,
So
you were there because I'll
okay.
tell you this story. When I showed up and I was there, I was there to support Dave, but
Hmm.
the night before he got his award, they had another thing going on
Yep.
and I showed up and there's a big room, tons of wrestlers and all kinds of people around the business and everything, and I didn't know anybody. And I had met you in Mania the year before,
Hmm.
at Takeover, and I saw you and I'm just like, oh hey Pat, and then we just started talking and then I'm like, I got nowhere to sit, and you're, well, come sit with us, and then you introduced me to Bertrand and someone
Wow.
else that was there, and then people came up and talked to you, and then every time someone would show up to talk to you, you'd introduce me, so you made me feel very welcome. And
Wow. What a
yeah,
good guy I am, right?
you really are,
Wow.
yeah. Pat
I'm
Patterson,
I'm
rest his
even
soul.
impressed with myself here.
Well, yeah, and then when we first met was, at Mania, was I don't
Yep.
know if you remember, it was at Takeover. You were there for Sami Zayn and Nakamura,
Yep. Yeah,
and
in Dallas. Yeah.
I bought you a beer.
2016.
So I'm a good guy too.
Oh, see, exactly. So we're two good guys
We're
then.
two good guys, two good Canadian boys.
Yeah.
Both French Canadian. You a little more than me. I'm Fontaine is definitely French, but
Oh, of course.
yeah.
Do you speak any French? I don't remember that.
So I can speak it, but
Yeah.
I don't really understand what I'm saying when I do.
But you did learn French in school, right?
Correct. Yeah.
Okay.
So I
Okay.
can look at, like, if I have like like the instructions of something are in French,
Hmm.
I can read it, and I can even, like, I know the words and I can make them sound good, much better than I do for English. But I don't
But
necessarily.
you can introduce yourself like
Yeah, bonjour,
bonjour. Je...
je suis Paul Fontaine.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Okay.
Comment ça
Okay.
va?
There you
Uh,
go. There you go.
Où
The
est la salle
basic.
de bain?
So whenever Maryse speaks in French on Raw, do you understand all of it or some of it?
Most. See, I
Most.
can
Okay.
speak it better than I understand it. I'll pick up a few words. I would say better than Spanish for sure.
Yeah.
Spanish is a little more difficult for me, but
Spanish is a far thing from what we learn here in Montreal.
yes. Yeah,
Even in the rest of Canada, right? So
and for you, like, because you travel the world, your French is different than even in, like, Paris.
oh
They
yeah,
it's a
definitely. We do understand each other, but there's always a few words, more than a few, but it's like Portuguese from Brazil and Portuguese from Portugal. It's not the same exact language. And English from England and
I was
English
gonna say, yeah.
from the US, so
How many times have you been watching a UK, a fighter or even a wrestler being interviewed, and you're like, I need a translator? You know?
never actually, because you always
I'm
have help.
being sarcastic, but
Yeah, no, exactly. But Australian too. I know
yeah,
many, especially women's wrestlers who are from Australia, and I mean, there's like it's a different accent, it's a different not language, obviously, but there's always expressions, local expressions, some slang into it,
yeah,
and that makes it different. But yeah, I mean, that's the beauty of being in the wrestling business, is you get to meet people from all over the world, speaking with different language, different accents. It's
yeah.
it's 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 part of why I like it so much.
I'm just fascinated by the stuff you do. and the things you've done, the biographies, and
Mhm.
the written and on screen. The Andre the Giant biography on HBO. Obviously, you guys did a phenomenal job with that, and the written biography as well, and Mad Dog, and did what are some of the other ones you've done? You did
I
you did
did
one
the
history of Montreal wrestling as well,
yeah,
right?
the history of Montreal wrestling. I did also the history of women's wrestling with Dan
Right.
Murphy,
Yeah.
formerly from PWI. So yeah,
You need to
that's
update
all the
that
books.
now. You need to do
Why?
it. Yeah, well, I don't know, because like I think women's wrestling has
Oh, you
exploded
mean
in
updating the book? Yeah.
yeah, because it's gotten so much bigger than when you originally did it.
Oh yeah, definitely. But I mean, it was starting to becoming huge. I mean, you had the four horsewomen were
Yeah.
already getting there, and we even talk about Ronda Rousey being the next one. She was not
Oh.
even like hired by WWE at the time. But I remember telling Dan, I mean, we need to talk about Ronda not only because she was influential to the decision taken by WWE to give more quality matches to women's wrestling, but I knew that she liked pro wrestling. She was going to PWG and stuff, and she was sometimes training in the ring, just for fun. So I knew that she would be the next one. I remember even having discussions at the CAC with some of the veterans there, and they were like, no, 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 you're wrong. I was like, no, I mean, one day Ronda Rousey and Charlotte Flair will main event WrestleMania. And I was like, just one off of what happened in 2019. They added Becky
Yeah.
Lynch to the mix, but it was pretty much what I predicted. So I knew Ronda would be big in the business if when she was going to be part of it. So we do talk about her, but of course, I mean, we some of the women that I would have liked to talk since. I mean, we didn't talk about Bianca Belair, obviously. We
Right.
didn't talk about even someone like Alexa Bliss, who I think is an incredible character, and someone who can follow. In the ring, when she has to. There's like so many. Utami
Yeah.
in Stardom wasn't near what she was when we did the book. So there's like many women wrestlers that we haven't mentioned that I would have liked to have a take back and update the book as you say. But I
Or a
mean,
volume 2, like
yeah. But let's wait. Volume 2, I'm not sure it would be worth it,
yeah.
because volume 2 would need to be only about recent wrestlers. So but I mean, an updated version in 5 years maybe.
Yeah.
Yeah,
I mean, I'd
that,
buy it.
that
I'd buy
I
it
could
because
I
I'm
could see that.
yeah, because and you've also got even like Britt Baker and Jade
Oh,
in
you're right. You're
AEW.
right.
Yeah. Yeah.
Brit wasn't on the horizon at
Yeah.
the time. So yeah, I mean, there's like Thunder Rosa
Yeah.
wasn't there too. So there's like a lot of new profiles that we could actually do.
Serena
Uh,
Deeb.
Serena Deeb, do we mention her? That I'm not sure though, because she was around by the time we did the book.
But she was like, I think she's really upped her stock in the
Oh
last
yeah,
few years for
definitely,
sure.
definitely. But it's also a matter of just getting a new narrative to
Hmm.
a few things that we already talked about, and update some of the stuff. So yeah, I mean, there's definitely a market, I think, in a few years from now.
Now, you and I both have Wrestling Observer Hall of Fame votes. If Ronda Rousey headlines WrestleMania again next year, as I think we probably maybe both expect her to, against Becky Lynch, maybe one of the nights.
One of the nights, because the
Yeah,
other night would probably be Roman,
Rome,
but yeah,
yeah, Roman and Rock, or Roman and
yeah, if
Cody.
yeah.
Yeah. Would you vote for her for the Hall of Fame?
Ronda,
Yeah, I think I would.
most probably,
Yeah,
because not only because of what she, I mean,
influence, right?
yeah, I was gonna say not because of what she's done in the ring only, but because of the influence she got, on a short period of time. That said, I don't think that this second run is as strong as her first run was, um she needs to improve promo. To me that's her
Yes,
biggest
yes.
weakness. uh in the ring, she does good, even when with some of uh more inexperienced worker, she's able to get sometimes a good match out of it. I mean,
Shotzi last week was really
Shotzi
good.
last week was very good. Her match in at WrestleMania was kind of disappointing,
Mhm.
but then again, at when was it, against Charlotte? Was it WrestleMania Backlash that
Yeah.
they had their rematch,
Oh,
which was the match I wanted at WrestleMania?
yes.
So
Yeah.
so I mean, there's some ups and downs, but all in all, I think that by the time she's done with WWE, and when you take a step back and look at everything that she brought to the table, I do think that Ronda deserves a vote. And if you include what she did in
Oh,
MMA, I
yeah, I
mean,
mean,
she's
no brainer.
definitely in. Yeah, it's a
Yeah.
no-brainer. Yeah.
I mean, it's the similar case to Brock. I mean, obviously Brock did more in wrestling than she did, but I think Ronda did more in MMA than Brock did. So, in
Yeah, yeah. I mean, yeah, I would like to see some of the stats,
yeah,
but because both of them didn't spend a lot of time on top, but they were so dominant and so
yeah.
popular, and that they transcended their sport. But yeah, Brock definitely did more in pro wrestling
So you have some other loves besides wrestling, and we may
though.
come back to wrestling, but I also want to talk to you about hockey.
Hmm.
I remember I was so happy when I saw your Facebook picture last year. Let's say around this time last year, maybe a month or two earlier, when you got to be one of the first people in Canada to see an NHL game live.
Yeah, yeah,
Yeah,
yeah. I
that
was
I
I
was
was at the
so
big
happy when I saw that.
the big return
Yeah,
against the Toronto Maple Leafs
yeah,
during the playoffs, and it was just an amazing. We were like, how many we were like 2,500
yeah.
people, something like that.
I
They
was
were like,
amazed that you got in. I
yeah,
was so
yeah, yeah. A
happy.
friend, a friend of mine is always sending his season tickets whenever he doesn't
Okay.
go to a game. So I always buy, like one or two pairs during the
Yeah.
year. And I did ask him, are you gonna try to get tickets for the return? And at the time, you got to remember, Montreal wasn't doing well in the series
Right.
against
Yeah, they were down
against
3-1, right?
3-1.
Yeah.
So he was like, yeah, I'm gonna try to get tickets, but I'm definitely not going. So I said,
Mhm.
well, you mind selling them to me? He said, no, of course. And he always sells them to me, face value. So
Nice.
I was like, is it gonna be the same deal? He said, yeah, face value. So I got good. And then and then the game actually happened, because you got to remember, we didn't even think that the game would happen,
Yeah.
because
Yeah.
it was game 6, if I remember
Yes.
correctly.
Yeah.
and
Yeah,
um
if they
and they
won in
were down
Toronto, the series was
they were
over.
down
Yeah.
3-1. So,
Yeah.
and then game 6 happened, and the pair of tickets that he sold me like for $250 all of a sudden was selling for 2, 3, 4,000 for the pair.
Wow.
And he kind of regretted it, but to his credit, he told me, well, we had a deal, so I'm going to respect my deal.
Yeah.
I give him a few more bucks for
Yeah.
his honesty and everything, for being sports about this. But I mean, yeah, it was an amazing atmosphere, even though we're not that many in the Bell Center. And the rest of the series, I was able to go see a game against your Winnipeg Jets.
Ugh.
I, I actually went to that game with Sami Zayn.
Oh, wow. Yeah,
Yeah,
actually, I think I remember seeing that pictures
because
that you posted too.
they wanted Sammy, or Sammy was in town for something, and since he's from Montreal, right? So
Yeah.
he was in town, and I was like, hey, do you want to go see a game? It was like the day after. He was like, well, you're able to get tickets. I said, well, let me talk to the Montreal Canadiens. Maybe
Oh,
they'll use you to do something. So they were like, yeah, we'd like to have him. Would if he could do our Twitch pre-game
Oh,
show that would be awesome. I was like, yeah, sure. So he contacted WWE, and I got to go with him to make sure everything was all right, and we got to see the game in the big VIP section there, so it was kind of a treat. And then I went to a game in the Stanley Cup final for the very first time in my life.
wow.
I've never, I mean, I was there in 93 and in 86 as well. But, I was just, a kid or a teenager,
Yeah,
didn't
like
have the
what are
money.
you? Like you're what, early
I'm,
40s?
yeah, 45, mid
45, so
40s.
you'd have been
Oh, I'm,
16 when
I was 16 in
yeah.
93. So I
Yeah.
mean, I've been to both parades, in Montreal. 86, I
Yeah.
was just in the, I don't know, I was 9 years old, and in 93 I was 16 years old. So I've seen both parades live, but didn't have the money to go to the game. My parents didn't go to the
Yeah.
game, so I was like, okay, I'll watch it on TV. So it was my first Stanley Cup final, and it was such an amazing moment. And I actually went there with Kevin Owens' dad.
Oh, wow. So what how many fans were they allowing by the time they got to the finals? It was more, right?
More, yeah,
Like
yeah. I
10,000 maybe?
believe it was 10,000.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah,
yeah. I
that's
think it was 50% of the arena by then.
my first game that I got to go to wasn't until this past regular season. We actually went to two games back to back. And it was funny because they still had the rule you had to wear a mask unless you were eating. So
Hmm.
I bought a big thing of popcorn so I could just have one kernel at a time so I wouldn't have to wear my mask. But I felt really safe. Like it was real good. And then I think now I assume that you probably don't even need your mask. I don't know. I haven't been to a game, but when I've
No, you
been to
don't. You don't
wrestling
need.
shows, like, well, nobody's wearing masks. And then of course I went to
No.
AEW to Double or Nothing, and I got
Yeah,
COVID.
you got COVID there.
Yeah, my
Oh,
first time.
really?
My first
Oh,
time. Yeah, a bunch
damn.
of us did from Wrestling Observer.
Oh, really?
Yeah, Brian and Vinny and bunch of the people
Wow.
from Fight Game. Yeah, I mean, it was bound to happen eventually, right? Like, and we were, we had a big suite party with like 70 people in it, and nobody was wearing masks, so that was probably not a smart idea.
Mm.
But and you're a big baseball fan too, right?
I am. I have actually visited every single baseball stadiums except the new one in Arlington.
Oh, that's
I've
a
seen
nice
the
one.
old one, but
Yeah.
I mean, that's the most recent one. Like he was built in 2019, I believe,
Yeah.
maybe
Yeah.
2020. So I was supposed to go this year because WrestleMania was in Dallas and the opening game was the same weekend, but because of the strike, not the
Right.
strike, but the
Oh, it got
lockout or
pushed back.
whatever,
Yeah.
it got pushed back.
Were you
So
at Mania?
I was at Mania. Yeah,
Oh, how did I miss you? Oh man.
you were there too.
Yeah, I was so
Didn't know
my
that.
daughter is Becky Lynch's biggest fan, and
Oh,
Becky got us really nice seats.
oh, that's
And
very
yeah,
cool.
we got to meet her, and they were so nice.
Oh, cool.
Yeah. Trish Stratus saw us talking to Becky, and she came up and asked us if she could get a picture with us.
Wow.
Yeah, she was so nice.
Oh, that's
Yeah,
awesome.
yeah, we stayed in the same hotel as the wrestlers, so
Oh, okay,
we
I
got
was
to
I was I was 5 minutes walking from there.
oh my goodness, man, I wish
Yeah.
I would have known. I don't know why I didn't even think to ask if you were there, because yeah, we could have got together,
Yeah, of
and
course. Of
yeah,
course.
where and did you go to any of the other shows while you were there?
I went to SmackDown,
Okay, I didn't go
Raw,
to yeah. Oh,
both nights of
Mania.
Mania. What else did I go? I went to the Joey Janela spring break on was
That
it the
was
Friday
Friday
night?
night,
Yeah, the
right? Yeah,
Friday night, the one with
yeah.
the
So you
big
didn't go
battle
to Ring of
royal.
Honor?
I didn't go to Ring of Honor
Oh,
because was it on Friday night?
oh yeah, it was the same time as
It was the
SmackDown.
same
Yeah,
as
yeah,
SmackDown. So
yeah,
because I'm I do WWE,
yeah.
I'm French announcer for WWE. I'm trying at least to cover, most WWE shows. I went to NXT because
Oh,
it was in the afternoon.
I
So
was there too.
okay, see,
Yeah, I was front row.
I've been to WrestleCon just to
Yeah.
talk with some people I knew there. I've been also to Mission Pro, Thunder
Oh,
Rosa's
okay.
promotion, all female
Nice.
promotion. Lufisto was working the
Yeah.
show, and I knew a bunch of people there. So I
Nice.
believe that's the show. I think I'm missing one, but that's pretty much yeah. Oh yeah. I mean, I've been to a bunch of WrestleCon show.
Yeah,
You
yeah,
know,
yeah,
I've
yeah.
seen a part of the Triple A show, part of the New Japan. I've seen the whole WrestleCon Super show as well. So yeah,
When I went down, I was like, there was like 3 shows all going on at the same time that I wanted to see, and even SmackDown. Like I didn't necessarily care if I saw SmackDown, but I wanted to see the Hall of Fame. So it was like I had to choose because they were all so far apart. So I
I
just
didn't
decided.
stay for the Hall of Fame.
Oh, really? Okay.
Yeah,
I
I
decided.
mean, Hall of
Yeah,
Fame live. I mean, I don't know.
you're right.
It's
Yeah, yeah,
it's never. I don't know. It never really. I mean, maybe if someday like Kevin Owens inducted, I'll stay for that for sure. But I've been to a few live, and I mean, I rather watch it on TV or watch it,
yeah.
on the network or something,
I
So
went I only went to the previous time they were in Dallas.
mm,
I went to that one and I actually left halfway through and
yeah,
went to a party. But yeah, I just wanted to see that Ring of Honor show because I mean that Briscoes and FTR match I knew
yep.
was going to be great. And then I kind of figured there might be some surprises and of course we got to see Samoa Joe and
But it was also
um,
the fact that it was like a good 35 minutes from
yes.
where
Yeah.
everything
Yeah.
was going on, and I wanted to go to the I wanted to go to the spring break
Yeah.
show after that. So it was, I mean, schedule wise and
Yeah, you could
location
walk to
wise.
just about everything you went to, it sounds like almost.
No, not the spring break. It was
Oh, okay.
like it was
Oh,
a
is it
good
far further away?
hour and a
Oh.
half
Oh, wow.
from the American Airlines arena. So it was, I mean, it was like 20 minutes Uber, but it was
Oh,
like
yeah,
much
okay.
further walking. But
Yeah,
the rest was all walking. Yeah.
I had my car there, so yeah, we went the Ring of Honor show was maybe a 30-minute drive.
Hmm.
So I don't yeah, obviously, you know where you could walk, but
You drove
everything else
you
everything
drove
else.
from Winnipeg to.
We did, yeah.
Oh
20
my
20 hours. Me and
gosh.
my daughter's in a wheelchair. She's a trooper.
Oh
Yeah.
my
Yeah.
gosh.
Yeah,
Okay.
yeah, me and my second youngest daughter, she was like such a huge help. She and we stayed a couple hotels on the way. I made sure to stop at
Of
casinos
course.
so I could gamble, try to pay for the trip, which ended up just costing me more money, but
Yeah,
that's
of course.
another story for another day. But yeah, I mean, so I don't know, like next year, I think Becky invited us to go back next year, but it's LA and I don't know, like we're definitely not going to drive to LA and it's so
Isn't it
expensive there.
closer driving to LA than Texas?
No, 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 no. It's Texas is straight south. It's 20 hours. So we can do it in
Okay.
2 nights, 2
Okay.
days. We stopped in Omaha halfway and then
Yep.
we got to Dallas the next day. I mean, it's yeah, and we've done it before. When we went to Dallas the first time in 2016, we drove that time too.
Okay.
It's nice because when you have your car there, like you don't have to necessarily worry about where you're staying
No.
because you can drive everywhere, right? And actually it was nice last time because everybody was at the WrestleCon hotel. So I just drove my van there and I used someone else's parking spot and stayed there for the whole day. And then at the end of the day, I drove back to my apartment. So, or
Cool.
my hotel.
Yeah.
So back to the baseball. I've only been
Mhm.
to 2 stadiums. I mean, I'm jealous that you've gotten to see all those things. I've been to Rogers Center and I've been to the Twin Stadium, and
Okay.
I'm planning to go. Well, I've been to both, so I've been to the Metrodome and then Target Field. I think the new one's called.
Yep.
Yeah, and
Never
I'm look.
been to the Big O in Montreal?
No, no. I
Okay.
mean, maybe I've only been to Montreal like twice.
Okay.
Once was like a stopover, and then the other time I was a little kid. Like I don't even remember. I'd love to go to Montreal. In fact, Emily might. She's supposed to get an operation, like a pretty major one, and they have the Shriners Hospital in Montreal.
Hmm. Hmm.
So we may end up going there for that. So if we do, we'll definitely touch base if
Yep.
you're in town.
Yep.
But yeah, I wanted to ask you about the Expos because there was rumors that they were going to come back and split halfway in between Tampa and Montreal, but that seems to maybe not going to happen now.
Yeah, it didn't really materialize. The city of Tampa was on board with it, but the players and the players association, I believe, didn't want to. So yeah, I mean, it would have been a good idea in the sense that I'm not sure if Montreal has the capacity to held a full-time team here.
Yeah.
So I like the idea that we were gonna have the team from, let's say, the end of June till the late August, because April, early May, sometimes the weather is not you know um, warm, and there's still snow and a lot of rain, which you don't care in Toronto because they have
Yeah.
they have
Got
the
the roof.
big they have the roof. But the proposition for the stadium in Montreal was without a roof. So um but and I mean, I don't know, maybe downtown stadium would have changed something, but I never felt like we were the right city for a 81 game season. It's
Yeah.
twice as much as what we are asking the fans for the Montreal Canadiens. So but that said, I believe we still are a baseball town when everything is working together. But Montreal has always been like this. We're gonna support the team as much as the team wins, and
Right.
it's except for hockey. But even the last few seasons, um, the Bell Center isn't selling out. But aside from that, I mean, I'm not talking about, the run for the cup last year,
Of
because
course.
it
Yeah.
wasn't even a sellout because of
You
COVID.
weren't
But
allowed to sell out. Yeah.
no, exactly. But I mean, I'm talking about CFL, Canadian football. I'm talking about the MLS. I
Right.
mean, we do sell out when the team is hot, when the team wins. When the team loses, I mean, it's a different thing. So and MLS and CFL, it's only like, I don't know, 10, 15 games a season. We are asking the fans to support a team for 81 games. So
Yeah.
that's a long, long, long time. So I mean, as much as I love baseball, as much as I would love to see a team back here, financially speaking, I'm not 100% sure that it would be sustainable.
If you
Maybe,
were, yeah.
maybe. So that's why I like the idea of sharing the team with another town.
Yeah.
I understand why it won't make it, but that's an idea I didn't hate.
And I'm sure you watched a lot of the games, when Toronto plays down there or any other teams. And I mean, Tampa, I mean, they got that big stadium and you might have 5,000 people in there to see some of those games. And
I
you
know.
would you would definitely get more than that in Montreal.
But
Um,
well, I've been to double headers in Montreal back in the 90s with 5,000
yeah,
people
in
for
that
both games. So I
in
mean,
that
that's,
80,000 seat stadium.
yeah,
Yeah.
exactly,
Yeah.
exactly. So I mean, that was like, you
Ugh.
you bring your newspaper and you survive the whole day, and you do something else I'm talking about newspapers
Yeah.
because at the time we didn't have a cell phone to
Yeah.
go
Yeah.
to go on the web for. But yeah, I mean that was the reality of Montreal. But whenever the team was hot, let's say 94, and we were stolen from probably a World Series championship. Um, I mean, 94 was so cool to be at the
Yeah.
Big O. So that's the thing. Whenever the team is red hot, it's the best place to be. But when it's losing, it's you can hear crickets. So
Yeah.
so so that's Montreal, except for the Montreal Canadiens.
Yeah.
Montreal Canadiens, even though the last 2-3 years haven't been, except for that Stanley Cup run last year, haven't been that great. We are still, getting 19,000 people in the Bell Center, and the atmosphere is crazy. I just went the other day to an AHL game, American Hockey League, the farm team
Yeah.
of the Montreal Canadiens, Laval Rocket. And I mean, there were 10,000 people at the Bell Place, the
Nice.
venue that WWE used the last two times they came in the province. And I mean, the atmosphere was like freaking awesome.
Oh, wow.
Better than most of the games I've witnessed at the Bell Center, because it's a smaller venue. So when there's like 10,000 people screaming all together, that's really crazy. And I mean, they won in overtime, and it
Oh,
was like, I mean, it was the place to be that night. So yeah, I
nice.
mean, yeah, so some of those stuff are really cool.
So you're a few years younger than me, but
Okay.
you were an Expos fan like from the time you were a little kid, probably, right?
Yeah.
Okay,
Yeah,
and you've
probably went to my first game. I remember going to my first game, and the roof wasn't even built yet.
oh wow, okay. So, and were you and have you gone back and kind of researched things and stuff? Because you're that kind of you're a historian of wrestling. Have you done that with baseball as well?
Yeah, kind of. Maybe with the Montreal Royals,
Okay.
the team where Jackie Robinson used to
Oh, okay.
play
Yeah,
back in
yeah,
the 40s.
yeah,
I've researched some of that, but I've read books about the history of the Montreal
yeah.
Expos, of course. So I know everything about how they came to the league and all that. I had one of my uncles was an usher at the
Oh,
at the Olympic Stadium. So during the 90s, every time I wanted to go see a game, and we were both living like 5 minutes walking from another, and we were both 15-minute walking from the Big O. So we're in the same neighborhood. So I was getting to a game that, let's say a game was starting at 7:30. I was getting there around 3:30 in the afternoon before
oh,
everybody
nice.
else,
So
but
you
the
get batting
staff.
practice
So
and
batting
yeah.
practice, I used to get ball sign and card sign
Oh,
and
nice.
bats and all that, and I was there all the time. I was there when Gary Carter played his last game with the Montreal Expos in '92. I mean, yeah, I've been to tons of games.
So there's a reason I asked you that, and we're almost out of time here. But I had this
Yep.
idea that I wanted to try with you, but I wanted to make sure you
Uh-oh.
had the knowledge. Okay, so I want to make sure you have to trust me. I have no Google Windows up or anything,
Okay.
and I'll trust you don't either. I want to play a small game with you, and it's 1980s Expos, and we're just gonna
1980s. Okay. Okay.
1980s, and we're
Okay.
just gonna go one on one until one of us can't name one.
Oh, okay.
So you
Okay.
start.
Oh, I start.
Yeah,
Okay. 1980s. Okay.
yeah.
So, okay. Well, I name him already. So let's go with Gary Carter.
Okay, Tim Raines,
Hmm. Andre Dawson.
Warren Cromartie,
Hmm. Ellis Valentine.
Chris Spires,
Spire. Yeah. Um, Jeff Reardon.
Steve Rogers.
I was going to say that. That was my next one. The Spaceman. Bill
Oh,
Lee.
Bill Gullickson,
Oh, yeah. Okay. Charlie Lee.
Tim Wallach.
Hmm. Larry Parrish.
Oh, that's a good one. Now this one we might have to look up. Maybe you'll know Tim Foley.
I'm not sure if Tim Foley was still there in 1980.
I
He,
might
he
have
might
lost
he
here.
might be, but it was like one of his last years.
Here,
And just look
let's
up Tim
check.
Foley.
I might have lost here. More stats. Okay, here we go. Holy
Maybe, but I'm
smokes!
not.
Did he not play for the Expos at all?
No, no, he did. He did. He did.
I'm looking at Nationals. Okay, yeah, that would be the Expos now. Yeah, 77. Okay, I lose. That
77 was
was
the
fun.
last one.
Yeah, yeah. That was fun.
Yeah. So yeah, I
I
called you on it. Yeah.
yeah, yeah. I was because I was trying to think of because I know Spires was short. I was trying to think of who
Yeah.
played second. Was that Valentine
Second in the 80s
for the most part?
was no, you did UB Brooks. No,
Oh
UB
yeah,
Brooks
yeah.
played.
Hubie
No, but he
Brooks.
played. He played outfield. Oliver was playing first base.
Yep.
Who was Vance Law played second base
Yeah.
for
Who was the guy? Francona played for them for a little
Terry
while, right?
Francona, but he was more of a
Yeah.
utility player. He could play first base and outfield.
Do you
Um,
remember? Do you remember? And I was watching this game, but you were probably pretty young. Do you remember when he got traded, and he
who?
played for both teams? So he played for one team on one half of the doubleheader, and the other team on the
Terry
second half.
Francona?
Yeah,
Yeah, I
yeah,
don't remember. I knew about that, but I don't
yeah.
remember
I
that.
was watching. Like it was on. I think CBC was airing the Expos games at the time.
Do you
Uh,
remember in 1989? It was the longest game ever played by the Montreal Expos against the Dodgers in Montreal. It was 22 innings,
oh wow.
and it ended with a home run. I want to say Rick Dempsey, I believe, hit that home run. And I do remember it was a Wednesday night, and I remember watching it all because I was young, but it was the summer, so I could stay long. I
Yeah.
could stay later, and I remember because the announcers at the top at the beginning of the 19 inning said, "Well, ladies and gentlemen, welcome to this third game between the Montreal Expos and the Dodgers, because it was already 2 times 9 innings passed." Larry Walker, I remember Larry Walker was
Oh,
in his rookie season, and he got tagged and on the third base
we
somewhere
need
during.
neither one of us mentioned him. I guess because it was
Well, because he
89.
was,
Yeah,
yeah,
yeah.
he was just a rookie, But
So do you know who? I just
you,
looked it
you
up. Do you
didn't
know
give
who
me
he
a
hit the?
chance. You didn't give me a chance to
Sorry.
mention Walker.
Yeah.
You lost way too early, man.
So who did Dempsey hit the home run off of? I just looked it up, so I know.
I do believe it was Dennis
It
Martinez.
was. It
Yeah,
was.
because
And that's we should have mentioned him, like El
yeah,
Perfecto.
because I remember that, because it's the same kind of deal that when the Expos lost against the Dodgers, the Blue Monday thing, where
Yep.
Rick Monday, it was another
1981.
Rick, it was
Yeah.
another Rick hitting an home run against Steve Rogers, who was another starting pitcher. And I was like,
Oh,
wow, look at that. So that game, it was Rick Dempsey hitting the home run against another starting pitcher in Dennis Martinez. So that's why I remember it.
I was in at the time, I guess 81, I was 10. So I'd have been in grade 5. And I think we watched the game in school because I think it was an
The,
afternoon game.
the
Uh
81 game.
yeah, the
Yeah,
game, yeah. Yeah, you were like
I
4 or
was 4
5.
years old, so
Yeah.
I have no recollection of that.
But I do, because it was, yeah, it was a huge deal when the Expos made the
Yep,
playoffs. Yeah.
yep.
All right.
Yeah,
So I said,
it was an afternoon game because
yeah,
the game got postponed because it was raining. They
right.
had started the game, and I believe it was going well for the Expos, but they didn't play enough innings, and they stopped the game, and the game was then postponed, and that's the one we lost.
And that's why Steve Rogers was pitching in relief, right?
Exactly. It was the
Yeah.
last game of the
Yeah.
series, and yeah.
It
So
was it was what they called it, something else, because back at the time they had the championship series and then the World Series, but they had a playoff that year because it was a split season. So you had the season 1,
because
yeah,
of a strike
because
or
of
a
the
lockout.
strike.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah,
So that's how the
exactly.
Dodgers and the Expos were uh
We we
champions.
we defeated, I believe, the Philadelphia Phillies,
Correct. Yeah.
and then we went up to against the Los Angeles
Dodgers.
Dodgers. Yeah,
Yeah. All right. Well, you know what? That was a good chat. And
yeah.
yeah, it's almost 40 minutes. So I want to thank you for your time. It's a
Every
late night.
everybody knows now that I'm a baseball geek as well.
Yeah. Hey, I knew that. And that's honestly, like, even more than the wrestling, it's what I wanted to talk to you about. So I'm glad we got a chance to do that. And we'll touch base again in a while, and hopefully in person at some point.
Yeah, definitely.
Yeah. So Pat, I want to thank you so much for your time. You've been very generous with your time. And for Pat Laprade, I've been Grandpa Dez, and this has been Cup of Joe with Grandpa Dez.